Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town. Far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound. A big sound. In a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
Faster every day, falling like a freewheel line out on a cannonball green. Ain't much a man can do when his road twists and turns. Hold tight to the wheel, boy, and steady on the curve. Heart it beats in rhythm, and the mystery remains. I'm dazed and distracted by the wave among the grain. Dreamed of a hummingbird, racing right on through the dawn. Every thought and feeling lost in the rain. It goes on, hey, hey. And now I'm feeling so close to you now. I've been my back to you if you don't show me how. You're not meant for all this grief. Oh, to keep on we're fine. So give your dancing head to me. Let's step into the night. You can't count them if you care to. All the years that come around. Ain't we seen the best of them? Ain't we covered little ground? Played in true and honest. No distance could undo. Fate may draw the fiddle, but only time can call the tune. Hey, hey, now I'm feeling so close to you now. I've been my back to you if you'd only show me how. You're not meant for all this grief, nor to keep all that we find. So give that dancing hand to me, let's step into the night. If I should fall out on the road so many miles from home, please know I am not leaving. No, you'll never be alone. Be the tall trees on the mountain where you see them not sway. Be the sunlight on your doorstep. Come to dance the dark away. Hey, hey, now I'm feeling so close to you now. Now what been my back to you if you'd only show me how. I'm not meant for all this grief, nor to keep on we find. So give that day some head to me, let's step into the night. Yeah, give that day some hand to me, let's step into the night.
This is Phil Barker from Town Mountain, mandolinist, vocalist, bus driver, accountant, etc. Be with y'all.
Yeah, and this is Zach Smith, the bass player and social media mogul.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's something we share in common. I'm a bass player by force.
Oh man, that
I mean, you know, I play other instruments, but you can work a lot more as a bass player.
You know, that's what my dad said when I first started showing interest in music. He was like, I mean, you can play whatever you want, but he was like, you'll make the most money.
Did he really tell you that?
He did, yeah. Yeah, he's like, everybody can play guitar.
Sure.
Smart man.
And there's
Yeah.
hundreds of them. I play guitar, and I play pretty well, but I can be a crappy bass player and still work more than I can as a
It's so
good
true.
guitarist,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's all we do.
I tell everybody, like, one of those smoking monkeys can do my job, but
I didn't get the same memo about mandolin. Apparently, you have to play mandolin if you live in Asheville these days.
yeah.
This is true. You know, it's,
There's a lot of competition in that field.
there is a lot of mandolin players in Asheville.
Yeah.
Nowhere else, but you know they're full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, go to Charlotte, and you're lucky to find one. You know, one good one that
Yeah.
can do something other than chop.
That's right, yeah.
My dad didn't give me that advice. His advice was find a better place to hide your weed. But
Yeah.
that's another podcast.
Yeah, no, I can do this podcast. There's nothing, you know, no rules here. So I can't edit with stuff like that. I just assume not, you know. So how's your experience been here?
It's been great so far. You know, we just pulled up, not having ever been to this facility, and it's like, where are we? This is like Disneyland for a horse business.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, Bruce Springsteen's daughter shows horses here.
Wow.
Penny from Big Bang Theory, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Has horses here, yeah.
I think this horse biz has a little bit of money involved.
Horse people have too much money.
Yeah.
$18 beers.
I'm glad they,
Say no more. Say no more.
I'm glad
That's
that
Red Rock's price right there.
Deviants hang out for a weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's take it back to the beginning. All right, you can take it back as individually, I mean, before Town Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So, you always been a mandolin player, is that what you?
No, like my first, I started playing guitar in high school, you know, to try to, you know, get the attention of ladies or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
Why probably 90% of guitarists start playing.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, so I got an electric guitar for my birthday or for Christmas one year, and that was like during the height of the grunge
Oh, yeah.
movement. So I was learning like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and like all that stuff, and I remember the moment like when you first figured out that you can play what you're hearing on the radio. That something clicked in me, and I was like, that is an amazing feeling. I want to figure out how to do more of that. And I remember being at a buddy's house, like kind of right when the internet came out. Honestly, I'm dating myself a little
He is
bit.
dating himself, yes.
And like I found my first guitar tab website,
Yeah.
and I sat there. I must have sat there for 2.5 hours just printing.
Oh, yeah.
I had a stack about
Yeah.
4 inches high of just like all these tabs of stuff I wanted to learn. And from there, man, I was just like hooked on having music in my life. And it wasn't until a little bit later, a buddy of mine and I were at a record store in Greenville, South Carolina called Horizon Records.
Yeah, Horizon's always been
Yeah.
great, yeah.
Yeah. This was back when bands would do in stores.
stores, yeah.
And so we sat about from distance from me to you, which is about 2-3 feet for the radio listeners out there, and from the Del McCurry band.
Oh, yeah.
And this all of them.
Yeah.
This was the Mike Bubb era.
Yeah.
McCurry band, late 90s, like the height of their powers. Not that they're not still great,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they were on. Anyway, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Seeing bluegrass music live.
So that was really your first real exposure
Well-
to it in a real professional.
That was the first time that I was like, I want to play mandolin. Like I'd heard Olden in the Way.
Yeah,
Had
yeah,
guitar teachers
sure.
like tell me about that, and Leftover Salmon I'd seen before, but like when you see it in its most purest form, done at the highest level,
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
I was done, man. I saw Ronnie McCurry play the mandolin like
Yeah.
a man on fire, and I was like, something about the rhythmic just drive of that instrument was like, I want to try to do that.
It's like being a lead drum player.
Yeah,
I mean, really, if you
Yeah.
think about it, you know,
you are the snare drum.
you're a snare drum, then all of a sudden you're the lead player,
Yeah, right.
which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one of the purest sounds in all of music to me is a mandolin chop.
Oh god,
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, because the chop's special.
it is, man.
You know,
Nice and oaky sounding, man. You know, like,
if you don't have it, you're not a mandolin player. I mean, you know,
It's essential.
it is. Although mandolin is a very diverse instrument, you can play just about any style of music on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that chop, you can play bluegrass.
That's true.
You know,
That's true. You
it's,
can't play rock and roll either.
No, you can't. You can't. So, how about the bass? Have you always been a bass player?
Well, I started as a cello player, and I was quite terrible.
Yeah.
And so I think it was either freshman or sophomore year of high school. I was like, this just isn't working. Let me play that big thing in the back that plays less notes.
Yeah.
And so my orchestra teacher let me take one home. And my dad's a banjo player, and I grew up going to Merle Fest. I grew up about 30 minutes from Merle Fest, so I knew what bluegrass was, you know, almost inherently. And so like I took the bass home that night and played with my dad for like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is it, man. You know.
Yeah. Plus, instead of doing what you were doing in the band, you know, it's like, oh no, man, you know, I'm gonna play a root and a five, and here we go. We're gonna make music instead of, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I stuck with the bass in orchestra for the rest of my high school career. So they'd let me borrow a bass,
Hell yeah.
and then I played some of my first gigs on that high school bass.
Nice.
Yeah.
You take it out.
Yeah.
That's too cool.
So yeah, I've just always loved that instrument. You know, I mess around on other things, but I'm a bass player for sure.
Well, you know, the best bass players I know are bass players. Always been bass players.
Yeah.
Come up being bass players. So.
It's funny you said, you know, like you were a bass player by force though, because that's the case a lot of the time. You know, they've had some bass players throughout the years who were tremendous guitar players, but they were like, yeah, I can also play bass. And Tom, I was
They
like,
just wanted to come hang.
yeah, and they did great on the bass. Yeah, but
In my case, it's always been, hey, Sandy, the bass players quit. You know, can you do it till we get the next bass player? And it's like, yeah, I mean, we need to work. You know,
Yeah.
I need to make money. So I'll do it. Till we
It's
get
a
a new
living.
bass player. And then
Oh,
the next
yeah.
thing I know, it's like, man, I've been in this band too long because I'm a bass player still. And you were supposed to get one.
Yeah.
And I used to be the guitar player or the fiddler. You know, and now I'm the bass player again. It's like, so time to move. So when did you guys all get together, and how did Town Mountain come about?
Well, Robert, guitar player, and Jesse, the banjo player, kind of were the founding kind of members of the band. I was in another band at the time, and their mandolin player bailed on a trip to Colorado, and I was available. I was like, yeah. So I went out there, played mandolin with them, and just like we really just hit it off, you know, hanging out, and music was fun, and their mandolin player didn't want to do it anymore, and my band was kind of dissolving, so it's like,
Yeah.
I just jumped on with it, and you know, we've kind of, the three of us have kind of been the nucleus since then. That's like 2008. Yeah. And so like,
You guys for pretty good while. I mean,
right on.
so it's and it's changed a bit over the years. You know.
Music has to evolve.
Yeah.
Bands have to evolve, you know, to keep it fresh, and to keep it for us, man. I won't speak to every band because some people find their niche and can just kind of do that thing, but for us, man, as songwriters, you kind of have to stretch out a little bit, and you got to find new things to write about and new ways to say it, and so
Well,
the music goes with it.
That's one of the things I really like about what you do is your songs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, songs are hard.
Yes.
A lot of bands are technically proficient in their songs. You know, it's like, I really like this band. I just wish they had some better songs. You know?
Totally.
And then a lot of times, in their defense, you know, and I've been in this case, you know, well, we're going to write our own stuff, but then there's a point where maybe you need to seek out, you know, okay, it's hard to tell somebody they're not that great a songwriter.
Right.
You know, particularly when you're playing in a band with them, you know, man, can't we, I know a guy that's got some good songs, you know.
Right.
But you guys do a good job of that.
I appreciate that.
Which is not always the case.
Right. That's something that's kind of been a point of emphasis from the beginning, was like, we have to have our own material, and let's like really work at it and do stuff that, you know, we hold ourselves to a higher standard, like songs that we would enjoy listening to.
Right.
And so it's like, luckily we've been able to dig a few up. So that's always been a focus for us.
I guess it's been fun since you've been here. hasn't it?
Oh man, yeah. I was a fan of the band long before I started playing with them, for sure.
Were you playing with someone else before you played with them?
I was playing with a few bands. It was while I was in college, and a band that I had done a record with. We opened for Town Mountain, and I got business cards printed up specifically for this, and I gave them. I printed 100. I probably gave them like 75. Like I put them in the van. And yeah, like a year and a half later, they were needing a bass player, and one of them had held on to my card, and so that's how I got the gig.
That's like pretty smart on your part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the business card worked.
Man, I was ready to get out of college. I had some.
Yeah, I do understand.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was very cool,
You
and
go to college somewhere in North Carolina?
I did. Yeah, I went to my hometown up in Boone.
Yeah, in Boone.
Yeah.
Well, you know about Boone musicians, right?
Huh.
You know about Boone musicians?
They're crazy.
They're crazy. Yeah, snake oil.
Yeah, Yeah.
They're super talented.
Yeah.
Billy
Yeah.
Constable comes to mind for me.
Billy.
Yeah.
Just the guy who ran around that circle as long as I could remember, and
Sure.
he was a good friend.
That is actually a really rich environment for musicians.
Oh gosh.
From both Eric Church, which we're not going there, but
Yeah, yeah.
to all the way to Jason Krekel, Jay Sanders, if y'all know Jay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's a rich area musically.
Yeah.
So,
I was super fortunate to be able to learn from people like Billy, because they had that jam at Murphy's Bar up there, and the school bass made an appearance there a few times for sure. But Billy, man, he was so supportive, and then he was also like, hold the E minor on Foggy Mountain Breakdown longer, and I was like,
teacher.
he was, man,
So
he was, yeah.
yeah, Billy, great guy, and one of the not enough people know about Billy.
No.
And that's not going to happen, unfortunately, But that's cool that you guys know. I would have not thought that, because I would have thought that maybe y'all were too young to miss.
He was so young at heart, man.
Yeah, he was young
He was
at
ready to.
Yeah, Billy.
He just wanted to pick, man. Anybody
Yeah.
that was excited to do that
Yeah.
was a friend.
And he was always excited.
Always.
For sure.
So,
And some beagle hound
yeah.
baying in his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So how did Miles wind up with you guys?
Well, we met Miles at Bristol Rhythm and Roots,
Yeah.
probably 2014 or 15. We played right before Sturgill exploded or whatever, and like they enjoyed our band, we enjoyed their band, and
I mean, he's a bluegrasser at heart.
at heart, man, he's a Kentucky boy.
Yeah, he is.
And we just kind of kept in touch with him over the years. He played random gigs with us here and there, and luckily Sturgill kind of took a little hiatus right when we were getting ready to make this record, and so he was on board from the beginning and helped us really craft our new record from the ground up, and was pretty instrumental in it. He's a great musician, and
He is. And that is, that is the cool thing too. I mean, drums,
yeah.
I mean, people think there's not drums in bluegrass.
Oh.
Scruggs use drums. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
So I mean,
What else you want to say?
yeah, exactly. That's all you have to say about drums. And it's no bluegrass. Well, I mean,
Do your homework.
Yeah.
learn something. So how is the new record?
It's way different than our last record.
Oh, yes, it is. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, it's just a further, like we were touching on earlier, the songs that kind of came about during this pandemic and just over the last 4 years really of being a band, and the work we put in and the varying levels of success that we'll have on any given night. But, the songs were just weren't really written with bluegrass in mind. And so we still have bluegrass instrumentation technically, but we're going where the songs take us, and that's not always that's not in the quote unquote traditional vein. So
No, it's not.
this is probably the first record where we really just don't have a song that's like that format. You know, we still kind of touch on we're also influenced by like Louisiana kind of southern swing or boogie music, whatever you want to call it. That's always been a big thing for us.
Go to New Orleans, so I understand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's soul music right there, man.
Yes.
And so we've got that a song with that kind of influence and some more singer-songwriter focused stuff. So it's way different, but you know, we couldn't be more excited about it. You know, it's a true representation of where we are as artists and as people.
Did it, was it hard to choose the songs for the record? I mean, did you have more songs than you had space for?
Not really. We
That's
had
cool.
maybe one or two, but like we've always been able to kind of hone in on what is gonna make.
Before you go in the studio.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
always,
we'll have a list and get it. We put in a lot of rehearsal time, so.
and economically, it makes sense. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know, go in with 15 or 20, and then it's like, we're gonna pay for this time to get.
Exactly.
You know, to decide before we do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so
I mean, it's a pretty smart decision.
Yeah, we got 11 tracks down in 4 days, and that felt good.
Go ahead and tell my listeners today,
Mm-hmm.
where did you guys do this at?
We recorded in this amazing studio in Nashville, Tennessee, right on Music Row. It's called Ronnie's Place, and that's Ronnie as in Ronnie Millsap. Ronnie owned this studio for years and years and remodeled it in the late 70s or early 80s, and it really hadn't changed since then. You know, it's still got all the
Yeah.
wood paneling
Yeah, the
and like
vibe from that time.
and Ronnie cut up most of his number ones in this room, and it's got pianos of his in there, and it's just got and Roy Orbison owned it before him. You know, it's history.
Yeah.
Randy Travis recorded in there. So anyway, this is our first time in like a proper Nashville studio, and we were lucky to find a producer that could get us in there
Yeah,
and
you
knew the
You
room.
want to tell people who the producer is?
Of course we do. Justin Ryan Francis.
Okay, that's great.
He's
Yeah.
a great young up and coming producer in Nashville. Does great work.
That's great.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Future looks bright.
We're trying, man. We're out here hustling.
Y'all playing a lot of dates. I mean,
Yeah,
y'all are out a lot.
yeah.
I mean, it's no more. I guess it's still an Asheville-based band,
Mm-hmm.
but you're gone from Asheville a lot. I mean, you know,
Definitely.
We are. But
And next year's looking really fun.
yeah, that's great.
For
I mean,
sure.
That's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed
It
to
is.
build it, keep building it. You know, it's come a long ways.
yeah, it really
It's
has,
totally
man.
where you're at now is totally different from where it began.
You couldn't.
And I mean, as with everybody's work, it's totally better. I mean, I like what made me attracted to you guys was the early records, you know. But then I do like the new one, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah,
I mean, it is a departure, but actually, it's really good.
appreciate that.
And you don't have to label Jack in the music business. You know, people
Yeah.
want to,
They want to.
but you know, and to a degree, I guess, to reach whatever plateau you need to.
Yeah.
There has to be a bit of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, originally they just needed a place to put it in the record store, but
Yeah.
these days it's all digital. It's in the
Sure.
yeah.
And I guess still some kind of chart deal wants
Yeah,
to
sure.
categorize it so they can
So give out awards to each
give out
other.
an award, yeah, which is always befuddled me. You know, why does they have to be a best?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, music's kind of like sex. It's good, better, and best. You know? It's all good.
Yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
bad, it's
Yeah,
still pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah. I mean, and everybody has. One of the things I've learned over the years is, no matter how god awful somebody's music is, there's somebody going, I love this stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
I had these people. Okay, we'll skip that part. I'll
right.
tell you this. I'll tell you that when we're through here. So y'all do you still write? Are you still, do you have time since y'all are working so much?
I haven't really had much time this summer, but I'm really looking to refocus later on in the year.
Yeah.
It's always going. Like I'm always got ideas spinning and lines that I'm writing down for later and a phone full of voice memos. But I have one or two probably done, but
It's
a slow
hard
process.
when you're working. I mean, when you're out working, is hard to.
It's hard in general, and it keeps getting
is
harder
hard.
for
It
me.
is.
You keep wanting to write new stuff and dig deeper, and it takes work.
It does. It's if it was easy, everybody would do it. You know.
That's true.
So I appreciate you guys taking the time to come by.
Oh yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.